You want to fight the giant when we veterans of so many wars, none of us dare to confront the man, the giant? David says, look. He's so enthusiastic. Man, what an opportunity I have. I know I can do the job. Saul says, go and look after your father's sheep. He said, no. You don't know, man. I can slay the giant. I can do it. So Saul offers David his sword and his shield. Young David says, look, I have never used it in my life before. And perhaps the sword is too heavy for him to carry. Now, David had to be there. What was he doing there? You see, if the battle was taking place here where the Good Hope Center is, and our little David was 5 kilometers away, we would have never heard of David. David had to be there on the scene. He had to be there. So, when he refuses the sword and the shield, David says, look, I'm going to use my sling. So what? A toy? You want to fight a giant with a toy? But he has seen the opportunity. This huge giant, slow, cumbersome. You know, a man who's a giant is abnormal. He's not even steady on his feet. And David saw the opportunity. So eventually Saul gives him permission, says, go, if you want to commit suicide, go. So David walks down the hill. At the stream, he picks up a few pebbles, small stones, and he puts one in his pouch, and he swings to gain momentum, the old-fashioned sling, because they didn't discover rubber those days. There was no rubber then. It was a pouch with 2 strings attached to it. He swung, and at the right moment, he let the one side go. And the missile, the stone, flew and hit Goliath on the forehead, cracked his skull. Goliath fell. Little David rushes up, takes his own sword, and chops off his head. And there was consternation in the Palestinian camp. The giant is gone. The hope of his side lost first blow. So the Quran reminds us, it says, وَقَتَلَ دَاوُدُ جَالُوتَ, and David killed Goliath. وَآتَاهُ اللَّهُ الْمُلْكَ, and God gave him dominion, وَالْحِكْمَةَ, and wisdom, وَعَلَّمُهُ مِمَّا يَشَاءُ, and whatever else he willed. So the Jew says, David killed Goliath. The Christian says, David killed Goliath. The Muslim says, David killed Goliath. I'm saying that poor Goliath was set up. Think of it. You see, Goliath had to be there, David had to be there for this opportunity. If he was 5 kilometers away, history would never have known who David was. That man was set up. Who did the setting up? David? No. Saul? No. The Palestinians? No. Somebody did the setting up. Who? There is one above. He sets up. And from that angle, we say people are set up continually. Here is a picture. If you haven't received it yet, take one when you go, as you go out. His Holiness the Pope. His Holiness the Pope. Without any disrespect, look at the picture. He is playing hide and seek. Look, this picture, you must get it. You must keep it. He is playing hide and seek. I don't want to do what he is doing because you are all catching me with the camera and the photos, and then you're going to show that Deedat is also playing hide and seek. But you get this picture. I showed this to a Christian missionary soon after its publication. A missionary was always at my meetings, the first man to come and ask me questions. I went to him and I showed him this. I showed him this picture and the caption. He said, where did you get the picture? Where did you get the picture? I said, look, this picture was done for me. He says, no. I said, this picture was specially taken for me. He says, no. So I'm asking him, you want a picture like this? He says, no. I said, look, I wanted it. I need this picture for my title of my pamphlet, His Holiness playing hide and seek with the Muslims. Now, what better picture can anybody take? Is there anything human? Look, if you paid His Holiness the Pope $100,000 to behave like this, would he have done it? No. I needed it and I get it in the post. I get it in the post. His Holiness playing hide and seek with Muslims. You can have this, my son. You can keep it. You see, I said His Holiness was set up. Everybody gets set up. And I was set up in 1967 by Jewish students of the University of Cape Town. I was here in your fair city on a lecture tour. And my meetings were being advertised in the newspapers. What the Bible says about Muhammad, Christ in Islam, was Christ crucified, Muhammad the natural successor to Christ, and so on. The Jewish students, they're seeing those adverts, they phoned the organizers and said, look, what about Mr. Deedat coming and speaking to us? So they asked me, I said, it's a privilege by God to go and speak to my nephews, my children. And the meeting was arranged in the Rondebosch. In Rondebosch, the Jewish students had purchased a hall. From the Christians, it was some church hall. They purchased it and they had the club running there. So I went down to talk to them. And in that talk, I was speaking about the Quran and the Jew. And I was reasoning with them that the problem between the Muslim and the Jew can be solved very, very easily. I said, we have such a common denominator. In our concept of God, no difference. In our dietary laws, you say no eating of the flesh of swine, we say we won't eat it. You say you mustn't eat blood, we say we won't touch it. You say circumcision, we say we are all circumcised. What more do you want? We would say that Islam is Judaism made universal. The only real difference between us is the label. You have got a different label from me. The question is simply change the label. You want to solve the problem? Change the label. You see, I said our own Chris Barnard here in Cape Town, he did this heart ops. What is the biggest problem in a heart op? Rejection. Why the rejection? The body needs a new heart. And they put a new heart into the body. And when that is done, the body starts fighting it. You know that? The body starts fighting the heart because it's a foreign element. The cellular construction of the heart is different from that of the body. So the body starts fighting, and in trying to kill the heart, it kills itself. So they have to suppress that battle between the body and the heart. So they start drugging the patient until the body is so senseless it doesn't know who is a friend and who is a foe. Getting it used to that heart. This is the battle in this heart transplant. Same thing now with you and us, the Muslim and the Jew. You are a new heart and the body can't recognize that heart. Because your cellular construction of this heart is Jew, and that of the body is Muslim. What you should do is change the label. So at question time, one young man, my nephew, young Jew, he said, why don't you change your label? I said, look, I don't mind changing my label. If I want to change my label, I said, the Jews, they put hurdles in my way. And if I overcome all those hurdles, eventually if you convert me as a Jew, I'm still a third-grade Jew. But I said, what have you achieved? Suppose I change my label. In other words, I become a Jew, get converted to Judaism. What have you achieved? I said, how many are you in the world today? So somebody said, we are 12 million. Today, they are about 15 million. He said 12 million. I said, now we become 12 million and one. With me become a Jew, you become 12 million and one. But I said, if you change your label, we are at that moment, we said we are 700 million. We become 700 million and one. Don't you see what a difference it makes? And I said, you are a business people. You Jews are a business people. You got the business mentality. No man, if you are a professional, your mentality is that of a businessman. I said, you have a product for which you have a market of 12 million. Simply by changing the label, you get 700 million people to buy. I said, you are a fool if you didn't. Let us become Muslims. What is the difference? By God, what is the difference? What is the real difference? There is really no difference, except we say, you are a Jew, I say, I'm a Muslim, and